Many of the adjustments that policymakers make to adapt to changing conditions, to adapt our inherited arrangements, are made under pressure of panic, of failure, of collapse from inside those arrangements, inside those problems. And today's story is not about the deep theory people, I've got stories about them, but rather about operational people. What are the people I'm talking about? Well, these are people who handle project management. These are people who create and sustain the arrangements that enable others to do meaningful work. Many of these arrangements we've inherited and we make adjustments. What sorts of pressures are on these people? Well, it's a little bit like having two bands playing. One's playing a cha-cha and the other's playing a waltz, and you're dancing and they're competing for control of your legs. So those pressures are there, ideological pressures, and there are pressures of trends. Now, I've got lots of stories about trends, but trends are pressures that are continuous, and they have a beginning. They might have a beginning somewhere in invention, innovation. They might have a beginning in adaptation. They might have a beginning in a failure, a panic. They might have a beginning in an accident. They might have a beginning in a kind of, well, you might call it a cross-fertilization or a hybridity. Well, all of our arrangements, all inherited arrangements are hybrid arrangements. They're all hybrids that have been adapted in the past, so we further adapt them. What's it like to be inside a place where failure is normal, collapse is normal, and panic happens quite often? That's what my story is about, to try to put you inside that normality. Well, we got to Townsville all right, but as we came into Townsville, we were buffeted, and the sound as we went into the gusts of wind, the sound of those propellers was deafening. Very difficult to hear the pilot who, over the loudspeaker, told us, there were about 8 passengers, I suppose, that he'd been advised to get into a holding pattern out at sea and then try to go below the clouds and wait. So I remember hearing him say, "We're going down." And one of the passengers hadn't heard the rest and started screaming. And then we started being buffeted up and down. I could see the waves were going in every direction. And then a little boy vomited, and his mother vomited into her handbag, and suddenly there was vomit everywhere. Eventually we were turned around, sent back to Cairns, and as we landed in Cairns there was an overwhelming smell of urine because we'd been 3 hours in the air in an aeroplane with no toilet. Buffeting.